Hello, today I will be talking about free will and predetermined fate. If you were to ask a friend if they believed in predetermined fate or free will, most likely they would answer with free will. Now, studies show that around 60 to 70% of people believe in free will, and to understand why, we need to go and understand the meaning of free will. Free will is the power of acting without constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. In other words, you are in control of your actions and what you do. Now, a while back, I had a conversation with my dad where we talked about this exact subject, free will and predetermined fate. And I thought that, well, the word has to be predetermined because if you think logically on a deep enough level where you could understand neurons and synapses and why X happens and such, you could actually predict human behavior, and in that case, you could almost predict the future with enough knowledge of the universe. And my dad stated that if you believe in predetermined fate, you are more likely to be like a slave to other people, and if you have free will, you're more of a free person. But I think he misunderstood what I meant. I don't really think somebody else can go tell you how you live your life, Like, oh yeah, you're going to become poor in the future, That's not what I believe in. I believe more scientific. Um, and I think so many people believe in free will because they misunderstand what predetermined fate really is. And and also I think religion has a big play in it. I think religion does impact your your thoughts about free will because some religions you think you have a soul where the soul is separate to the body and there's a higher being like God who maybe predetermines the fate or something, but yeah. Um, but if you really think logically, scientifically speaking, and also theoretically, I'm saying that this could probably not be replicated in real life. With enough research, like 10,000 years of research, of just analyzing one's brain and synapses and what they respond to, it's almost just it's almost just like computer code. If X happens, then Y is triggered. And um, I think the brain functions very similarly to that because um, when we do something good, when we find food or something, dopamine gets released and we feel better. That's because it's triggered to happen when certain things happen. So if you think about it very logically, with a deep enough understanding of the universe and how things would eventually play out, you could actually predict not only human behavior, but also how the universe, what is going to happen in the future. If you have a very, very deep knowledge of physics and biology and every single subject on the earth, you could predict what every single human on the earth is going to do in the next 24 hours. So, and then essentially you could predict the future. But it's not even predicting, it's just learning patterns and recognizing what would happen if another thing happens. And so, for an example, let's say a criminal called Joe gets arrested and he has the option of either ratting out his other criminal friends or he can go and get sent to jail. And many people, most people, probably his own friends even, would not be able to know if he were to rat out his criminal friends or go to prison and keep them secret. So I think some people would maybe be able to, like, yeah, 50% of the population probably, like, yeah, well, he's probably gonna do this, and because it's a 50-50 question, a lot of people would still get it right, but they would not be 100% certain. Even people who had been close to him, like maybe his mother, Joe's mother, would not be with 100% certainty be able to tell if he was going to A, snitch out his friends, or B, go to prison. And the only, I guess, creature, let's say there was a creature with such amount of knowledge, such vast amounts of knowledge about how the human brain works and all of the stuff I mentioned earlier, they would also be able to predict Joe's behavior. They would know exactly what he would say word for word. They would know exactly when he would say it. They would know the police response. They would know e- exactly everything. And well, there you have my theory. I think that the world is predetermined. It's just so hard to predict how that I don't actually think any human would ever, with 100% certainty, know that something is going to happen. Um, I'm talking in human behavior with free will, not like, yeah, the sun's gonna explode in 5 billion years, you know? Um, One last thing I want to mention is a while back I also heard about a paradox which I found was very strange. Um, and the paradox stated that if a mouse was locked in a box with a trap that could trigger poison, but the trap was so random and on like such a small scale to molecule scale that it's almost impossible to predict whether when you open the books after, let's say, an hour, he would be dead, or I'm talking about the rat then, if the rat would be dead or if the rat would be alive. But let's say said creature would have so much knowledge about the universe they could predict the rat's behavior, and the rat is going to do this exact thing at this exact time. So, and you would be able to predict this movement. You would be able to know the trap that somebody set. You would be able to know exactly when he died, how he died, and you could say, oh yeah, he died 47 minutes and 36 seconds because he walked over this at 75 degrees. Even though you haven't opened the cage or the books, you would know how the rat could act, because brains are just like computer code. You wouldn't really call a computer code have free. You wouldn't really say that a computer code has free will. It's programmed to do something, and so it does said thing. And it's the same with humans, but humans, we have a lot more going on in our lives. We have a lot more things to be influenced by. And so in conclusion, I think that in a really deep way or very complex way, the universe is predetermined. Things are meant to happen. Maybe you're meant to hear this. Maybe you're meant to tell your friend after this that, oh yeah, I just watched this video, he talked about blah blah blah. Or maybe you're not. I don't know. but somebody, or maybe the magical creature does, you know? So, yeah, in conclusion, that's all. Or, yeah, bye bye. Have a good time. You can go now. Or maybe think about what you said, what I said. I'll give you 10 seconds. Bye bye.